All right, time once again for Catching Up with Tommy Mac podcast here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, on their app as well. And we're live on Facebook, 1010XL's Facebook page and my own Facebook page. Catch all the archive podcasts right there at 1010XL.com and on the app. So check that out when you get a chance. A lot of different shows, Jags, Gators, what have you, are right here on 1010XL's podcast platform. My show brought to you by the Carpet Man, LVP. Yeah, he was on the Horse's Mouth last week. That was cool, doing a one-on-one with Chris Jackson. The Carpet Man, home of LVP, luxury vinyl planking. You can't get it anywhere else for the cost, and it's luxury. It's high value, so check them out. If you're in the mood for carpeting or flooring, there's only one choice. It's the Carpet Man, of course, right here in the 1010XL studios. Quick friendly reminder for all of you that have just joined the show. The Dad Bods take the stage at 8:30 Friday night at Whiskey Jack's in Atlantic Beach, right there on Atlantic Boulevard. The draft will be going on. There's no doubt about that. We'll stop playing when the Jags pick. How about that? I'll make sure that happens. They can crank up the thing, or I'll announce it. Whatever. It's going to be a huge party. It's going to be a huge time, and we will be playing for a few hours on Friday night. I did go there last Friday night. Shout out to, I don't do any shout outs in this show, but I felt like doing it right then, to Julia Gulia, man. You guys are good fun band to watch. They can really rock. And I tell you what, I need to learn how to play guitar, Graham Marsh. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Sir. How are you?
I think it's so much cooler when the lead singer can play guitar.
It's pretty damn cool.
Really cool. I'm not that
Or
cool.
if they're like a wizard on the piano.
Oh, yeah. Sure, any instrument, really. How about Phil Collins with the drums? You know what I mean? Go even that far if you wanted to, but unbelievable. They were very good. We'll try to match that. I know our energy will be there. That's for sure. Of course, big trade yesterday. It's official. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. The Packers end up in the draft with now number 13, 42, and 45. The Jets, they drop to 15, so only 2 spots. What did they give up? 2 spots in the first round and a second rounder for him, basically? And that second could be a first based on what he plays. Okay. So maybe 2 firsts.
Which he should easily play 65%. Assuming health.
Unless he gets hurt, yeah.
Yeah, assuming health.
He normally is healthy. Look, it's great. It's great. I hope he does well. I'm a little reluctant because that doesn't always go that well, even though it looks great on paper. That especially that first year, it's not. I don't know. You never know. Is the chemistry there? Are they in sync? Are they is it the right offense? It should be, with the offense coordinator being there, Hackett, who, coached him in Green Bay, of course, before he went to Houston for about a year. Did he make it a year? He didn't even make it a year, did he? Denver. What did I say?
Houston.
I meant Denver. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Did he make it a full year?
No.
Wow, that's wild. But he's now the offense coordinator for the Jets, so that's a good thing. Look, I got nothing against Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a little, out there in the stratosphere somewhere sometimes, which is fine. He's a little airy, like his, beep don't stink at all. It does. We all know that. But he's a great football player, and I love him as a quarterback, man. He's still one of the top QBs in the game. There's no doubt about it,
and
in my opinion.
And I agreed on everything you just said, and say what you want about him being weird and all this stuff. Yep. But he shows up and plays on Sunday.
He wants to win.
There's no availability concerns with him and him. That he plays ball.
He does, and he can still play ball at a high level.
Yes,
that guy. Whew.
I can deal. If I was a GM or a head coach, I could deal with a little bit of weird. As long as on Sunday you're ready to ball.
Oh, I don't care what you're doing during the week.
Right.
As long as you're not doing anything illegal, you're not hurting yourself or anybody else. Whatever.
Right. But
look at Dennis Rodman. Are you kidding me? I'd love to have Dennis Rodman on my team. He was doing whatever the hell he was doing. He could go out all night for all I care. Because guess what? He'd show up on game day and be one of the best players out there.
It's funny you mentioned the NBA because I was about to say, as somebody who watches the NBA, it's not like a Kyrie Irving situation.
Right.
Where that dude does everything he can to not play basketball.
Yeah, right.
Aaron Rodgers is weird. He does weird stuff. He says weird things, whatever. But on Sunday afternoons, he's in uniform playing ball.
Just real quick, because you're the NBA guy, the knock in the nuts, has that always gone on and it was more subtle, or is this a new thing? It seems like there's a knock like to get space, like this, like bink. Remember that? I never liked that game, and there was always that one jackass of a guy that loved walking around and whacking you in the balls. You know what I mean? It was like when you were a kid or younger. You're like, man, what are you doing that for? That's so stupid. And yes, it hurts. It doesn't feel good at all. You know what I mean? But now you're seeing, I saw Harden do it to get the space.
Are you referring to Dylan Brooks?
I guess you would elbow in the gut to get space, right?
Yeah.
But now it's like a window. Right? Like,
well, did you see Dylan Brooks do it to LeBron a couple games ago?
Yeah.
And LeBron had the ball.
Yeah.
And Dylan Brooks claims he was reaching for the
ball. Yeah. Well, he was.
Yeah.
Just the wrong ball.
Exactly.
The wrong set of balls. You know, I tell you what, LeBron, obviously one of the greatest ever. I like that he just shut that guy up. I mean, I'm not even a huge fan of either one. Like, I don't care, you know, as far as that goes, who wins and how many points they'll score or nothing like that. But guy called him out. He shut him up.
The Grizzlies in the game following that, in game 3, in the first quarter, the Grizzlies scored 9 points.
Yeah, right.
9 points.
Yeah. And
that's pathetic.
That's good. I'm glad. Good
and
for him. We'll
LeBron last night, he had 22 points and 20 rebounds.
Yeah, he's the oldest guy to ever do like 2020 or something.
He's
like that. He is.
It's ridiculous.
I agree.
He's in year 20.
I know. That's unbelievable.
20
that doesn't
years.
Even feel like he's been doing it.
He got drafted in 03.
Dude, right out of high school.
That's crazy.
Kobe, him, right out of high school, man. That's just insane. Kevin Garnett, right? He came right out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, that's just...
KG was
even
like
one
the first
and done.
guy.
You still get a college a little bit, right? You're playing with older guys. You know what I mean? It's not the pros, but at least it's not high school. High school, you just dominate. I mean,
you have that kind of development year.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice year. But
LeBron went from high school basketball to not only being in the NBA, but being expected to be the savior of a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, straight out of high school, he went to Cleveland expecting to be what we expect out of Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
With no college experience at all.
No doubt.
Straight out of high school.
No doubt.
That's unbelievable.
No, I know. Well, he did it, man, and he's still doing it. Hey, that fight, I called the fight. Not that I'm a fight expert, right? Tank got it done with the left to the body.
That liver shot.
It didn't seem like it was in the back, but he got him good enough, and it was a delay. And I love how everyone comes out, like you've ever taken a shot in your gut like that by any pro boxer or anybody for that matter. All the warriors on Twitter, like, what a wuss. How do you go down with the body? Like, well, I don't know. Maybe it really hurt, and he couldn't catch his breath. The thing was, when he was kneeling there, it didn't look like he was in anguish, like, you know, it was more like he almost was trying to catch his breath. You know what I mean? I don't know. He just, you know, and then the fight's over. But I tell you, they saw something in that because that left hook from Tank, man, who got him down early in the fight and then ended him with it to the body. So,
well, this is
nice
the beauty of like TikToks and Instagram reels and stuff is like I think it was an Instagram reel of a doctor like breaking down that body shot.
When you get hit that
and basically, if you get hit just right there, like right where your liver is.
Oh yeah, no, the liver. But the liver, they usually get you on the side. It felt like he got him more like right next to like his oblique almost. So that was like,
well, that's what
maybe
it was.
He got it from that side of it.
What he was saying is like this. I guess I would have to see it again, but
maybe
basically,
the shock.
He was basically saying that like the stuff.
Yeah.
The part of your body that does get hit.
Yeah.
Then gets like pushed back
into
to your
that
liver.
Makes sense. Yeah.
And once that happens, your body just like collapses.
Like shuts down.
Like, doesn't matter how tough you are, your body just stops.
I was watching that Mickey Ward and Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti, and Ward hit him with like this body shot. And man, he was like, he could. I'm surprised he got up. Those were great fights. But anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. I know it's draft week, but I love the fight game. And the reason I love it is it's one-on-one, and there's no help. And it takes a lot of guts to get in there. I don't care if you win or lose. Just getting in there, MMA, any kind of, you know, that kind of thing, it's not easy. You know, I've sparred, and that's nothing compared to really fighting, and that's even daunting. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like you don't know until you know. And it'll shock you. I remember when I tore my bicep, I got whacked right in the face, and I was like, what? Sheesh. And you got it. And then the legs went, your adrenaline goes, the legs get cement, and then you can't breathe. And then, it's not like you think it is until you get cracked. So anyway, I love the fight game. I think those men, women, whoever, man, I think
that's one sport
pretty ballsy.
That's one sport that I would not compete in. I don't have the...
Well, you know what? It's like hockey players or rugby players. They're not afraid to get hit in the face. Us football players don't like get hit in the face. We wear masks. It gives us this sense of security. That's why we lead with our face. Back in the day when they didn't have face masks, they didn't lead with their face. They turned their head to the side like rugby players and make that perfect tackle, keeping your head out of it. Then it, evolved into... I led right here. When I was making hits, this is where you lead with.
Right above the eyes.
You're looking at everything you hit, but that's the first thing that's hitting. Would I do that without a face mask? Hell no. So I think it is, you got to be in that kind of arena. You can't be worried about getting hit in the face. You're not shocked. It doesn't shock you. It may hurt. You're going to stick, you know what I mean? But it's not like... Most people that get hit in the face, they lose all their marbles. They're like, oh, my God, I got hit in the face. Oh. These guys are like, hit me again.
If someone came and punched me in the face right now, I'd be out. That's it.
I remember Nate Diaz after, I think it was a McGregor fight. They're filming him in the tunnel backstage. And like, Nate, come for the interview. And his face is just purple from like halfway all the way over his face. He's like, hey, you mind if I take a shower first? No, Nate, go ahead, take a shower. I'm like, this guy, I mean, you're used to it, right?
Right.
You see that footage of him in New Orleans? He put the kid to sleep, and now he's getting charged with assault.
I think
Nate
so,
Diaz,
yeah.
There was a beef between some groups fighting, but he gave him a knee, too, to the side.
Oh, my God.
Make sure he, had to take an extra breath before he sucked it out of him.
So I don't get in bar fights, man. You don't know who you're dealing with, bro.
There's no, it's, I tell you, the era today is different. It's just different. We fought. I mean, that's what we did, but they were fist fights, and they weren't, stand on the guy and pound on him till he was dead. And it wasn't ever, well, I shouldn't say ever, but 2-on-1 was like, you're a wuss. No, you gang up. No, you deserve your head kicked in if you need somebody else to help you beat up the guy that you just got in a beef with. And then it was over. You might have fought again, but it wasn't like this stomping and, hey, everybody jumps in. It's like a free-for-all. Like, got one guy going with one guy. Next thing you know, it's 10 guys trying to. Yeah. It's just a mess. It's a mess. And it's happening way too much all around. Everywhere, in school, out of school, in bars, out of, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man.
And those fighters, man, they're not always big people.
They just know how to fight.
Yeah. So if you don't like recognize someone and you like, they're like a big, like you wouldn't, it's not like a football player where like typically a football player is bigger than the average person and they stick out a little bit. But like a fighter can be pretty small, man, but they'll destroy.
I don't care how big you are. If you can't take a punch, it doesn't matter how many muscles you have or how much you weigh or how tall you are. And if someone knows how to do it or get you on the ground, a good wrestler that knows how to use, like, I don't know how to do any of that. If you get me on the ground, you win. I'm like, all right, you got me. I'll buy you a drink. I'm sorry, right? I'm not a wrestler, but yeah, no, it's like the kid in college. You get in a beef in the bathroom. That kid knew how to fight, got him on the ground, and messed his eye up and screwed up his part of his college career. And if he would have just kept, my dad used to say this thing. He's like, looks like you were talking when you should have been listening. Anyway, let's get back into the NFL draft. We're 2 days away, baby. I'm jacked up. I think it's everyone It's not a good draft. I love when they say, well, there's no real top talent, but it's solid, deep draft. Well, so if you didn't have the first round, it'd be a great draft. The first round, you know what I mean? It's always...
So it's better to pick 25th than first. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
I don't believe in that. Look, each player's going to, their game's either going to transfer over or it's not. And you're going to find out relatively quickly. right? What they got done in college isn't going to matter when they step on the field in the pros because everybody did that in college. But I think it's going to be an exciting draft. I do. And with this Rodgers trade now to the Jets, I think it does open up Green Bay at number 13. Well, and you think about, think of the teams that need a quarterback and probably will take a quarterback. Carolina, of course. Houston's got 2 picks. Forget number 2. They also got 12. So there could be a quarterback that they like that could be sitting right there at number 12 if they don't take somebody at 2. You got Indy at 4. You've got Atlanta at 8. I know they're saying Ritter, but, maybe they got one of these young guys marked ahead of Ritter. He was great at Cincinnati. That's all we know. I don't know that much about Desmond Ritter, right? He played a little bit last year, right?
Yeah, like the last few games.
Last few games. That's right. They finally turned it over to him. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do. Then you look at Tennessee at 11. No doubt. They don't like the backup who filled in for Tannehill,
Malik Willis.
They don't like him. Tannehill, look, you ran Carthon. You're like, okay, Tannehill's okay. He is, but he's got like a $36 million cap hit, I think, next year. So I don't know. There could be something there. And then you got Green Bay, like I mentioned. Washington needs a QB. I know they got that young kid, Seaman. You know what I'm talking about? Who was their starting quarterback last year? Anyway, he was a young guy. He's okay. It's not Seaman. He was there before.
You're thinking about Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, yeah. Thank you. The young kid from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You were getting it mixed up with Trevor Siemian.
Who was their quarterback 2 years ago, maybe, or a year ago? This
I think so. He's bounced around.
Yeah, he has, but he was with Washington.
To begin the year, Washington's QB was Carson Wentz last year.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then Sam Howell. They drafted Sam Howell out of UNC.
Out of UNC, correct. So, maybe not there. Tampa at 19, I think if someone like a Hendon Hooker's down that way, I think they may make a run for him. But you look at that now, who's going to trade up? Who's going to trade down? What's going to happen there? Look, I don't really care, to be honest with you. I hope all your teams get who you want out there, but
unless you're a Titans fan.
I just want the Jags. I don't, whatever. Yeah, unless you're a Titans fan. We'll give you that. I don't really. I miss 99, so I don't have that hatred for the Titans. I don't. I don't like them. I don't like any of our opponents. But I don't have that. I was out on IR. It was awful. It was great for the team, but you don't feel like you're part of the team. You just don't, especially when you get hurt early and they're, and I was gone because my foot took a while to heal. I was gone for a good 6-7 weeks, like not even going to the stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't have that, when they lost, like even if we won the Super Bowl, I'd have been obviously extremely happy. It'd have been awesome. But I'd also be like, well, I didn't really, I'd probably have it locked away in some kind of, I didn't do anything for that, 2 games. You know what I mean? So I don't have that. So, but yeah, of course, the Titans. But I do think it's interesting where they're sitting at number 11, who they're going to end up going with. There's all types of rumors going on. Paris Johnson moving up. Somebody wants him at number 3. Now the kid out of Texas Tech may have some injuries you got to be careful about. Are they going to go? I don't know. I think with a new, D'Amico Ryans doesn't have the pull, right? It's Cesario, but I don't know. If you go Davis Mills, you're not tanking, so that doesn't make sense, right? I don't know. There's 2 quarterbacks next to the one kid out of USC. There's another kid. I'm sure there'll be a third and a fourth
out of USC. Drake May out of Carolina.
Thank you. Those guys. But you can't count on that. So if one of these quarterbacks is your guy, man, I'm pulling the trigger if I'm Houston.
And
take the chance. It's risky no matter what.
Yeah.
It's risky no matter what. Hey, look, I think Will Anderson's phenomenal. I do. Phenomenal. Will his game transfer to the pros? I think so. But guess what? We're not going to know until when? Until we see it on the field. He may not. He may get... He may not have an alter move. He may not have a good spin move. He may not have that deep, dark, deep bend you got to get down, down and dirty in, almost near the mud.
And even really good edge rushers a lot of times take a half a year to a year to
get
really
acclimated. Yeah. Unless you're Hutchinson. He didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Although he disappeared in games too, because we saw that too. He wasn't a dominant force every game.
I actually kind of agree with the Texans on their whole not interested in a quarterback. At least that's what they're kind of saying.
Yeah.
Just from the perspective of, I do think a lot of teams too often convince themselves of a guy just because they're in position to take him and the timing lines up for them. But if you're not truthfully convinced that you like one of these QBs, then you shouldn't take him.
Well, it depends how you feel about Davis Mills, I mean, because, you are adding talent in other spots, that you're going to try to make a competitive outcome out of, right? I don't know. If I'm them, especially at 12, if one of them's there, I might if Richardson's, I'd take a flyer on him at that point if I got my second pick.
It's just you're picking so high, and if you take a QB there, like there's no way to take a QB there without betting your next decade on that guy.
Well, everybody has to do that. I mean, Bryce Young's no sure thing. You ever see that movie? Go watch it.
100%. I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he looks like he could be, but we don't know. He's not brittle, but what if he gets drilled and breaks his own? I don't know. Look at Purdy. He may, that's kind of a weird thing I was thinking about. He's not getting surgery on that arm.
Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there.
I don't know if it's confused. The Tommy John thing, like it's that ulnar or whatever, because
Tommy John takes like more than a year. When you it's a long
but
deal.
Once they're done, they say it's tighter than ever. Like
of course, 100%.
Young pitchers were doing it on purpose. I don't know if they still are.
It's almost like in baseball, you're almost like supposed to get Tommy John.
Yeah, if you're pitching.
It's like better once you get it almost.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it's going to be exciting. I think there's going to be some movement. Other news before we get into the Jags, you got to wonder, Trey Lance, is he on the block? Now that's wild. Three first rounders to go get him if they end up moving him. That just seems strange. Sam Darnold's there. We don't know about Brock Purdy. I don't know. I don't see them trading Trey Lance. I mean, I don't know that much about him other than, he can run really well and he's got a cannon for an arm. You got to play that one out. Of course, Jimmy G goes to the Raiders. So you're sitting there out in San Fran. I saw a little thing about Lamar Jackson. Could that be a move? I mean, I got to move Trey Lance if I bring in Lamar Jackson, I would imagine, if I'm San Fran. Right?
God, yeah.
I need some picks back. But think about this. You ain't getting a first-round pick for Trey Lance. Would you pay a first-rounder for him?
No, hell no.
Was he better than any of the 5 coming out this year? Maybe.
Better than any of these
this year?
These coming 5?
Yes. Maybe better than – is he better than Hooker? What a great name. No offense to all the hookers out there. What a great name.
In college? Hell no. Hooker was really good.
No, I know.
But we
don't know. We don't know about Trey either. He's barely played for them either,
I think the debate to have with Trey Lance is Anthony Richardson. They're relatively similar.
Okay.
Sky high ceiling.
Yep.
Production wasn't always what you'd like it to be. Didn't play a huge sample size.
One played at North Dakota State, one played in the SEC, right? So we got
exactly.
We got to weigh that in, curve that in, but that's going to be 3 picks. That's wild. But nonetheless, they're sitting there. Seattle at number 5. They're all saying Jalen Carter, but that's another team that's saying, hey, what if you grab a flyer on Anthony? I've seen Anthony Richardson to Seattle at number 5. You've got Geno for 2 years. Geno turned it around last year. You like him in your offense, but he can't do it forever either. It's now the time to develop a guy.
Seattle and Detroit would be the 2 best landing spots for Anthony Richardson, in my opinion.
Yeah.
2 guys with older QBs that are not like they're
ready to hang it up.
They're not grandfathers, but they're older, so they could play a year or maybe even 2.
I think Goff. I like Goff a lot.
I do too.
I think he's perfect for that, and good for him. They didn't want him out in L.A. anymore, and they got him in Detroit, and he's
made a really nice second chapter of his career.
Absolutely. Yeah, Detroit.
And Detroit's got a good culture up there. They got good weapons. It would be a good environment.
One's going to be taking some time off.
Well, that's fair. That's fair.
What were they gambling on? I heard it was non-NFL stuff. So, but you can't do it from the facility. It's
kind of dumb.
Put a payphone in there. Call the horse track. You can't do that.
To
me, that's ridiculous. I mean, whatever.
Like, I understand, but it's at the same time, it's like that logic is stupid because it's like, what if they walk across the street? You know what I mean?
No, right. Or out in the car.
Right.
Or they're in their car going home and they do it, leaving the facility. I don't know. I thought
if
it's on the games, different. The NFL games.
100%.
Everything else, no, wide open.
Yeah, I agree.
Wide open.
I agree.
And another tidbit. So it comes out, Todd Bowles says, Bucs not trading Devin White. So we'll see about that, but doesn't look like the star linebacker is going to get out of Tampa, at least not before the draft, and maybe not during, but we'll see about after. All right, Jags at number 24. Look, man, I think, like I said, I would pick Branch if he's there. Brian Branch, who's your day one starter. You put him in at nickel. He can play safety when that time, comes, if it ever does in the near future. Eventually it will, probably with Rayshawn getting older. Rayshawn's our guy. So is Cisco. Hey, Cisco's he's been up and down. There's, he's very good. I like the way they blitzed him on occasion. He made some plays in the secondary. Just needs more consistency. The whole defense. We know this. Again, I was on a podcast Sunday, and I was talking about the Jaguar defense last year. Halftime at Dallas is when it changed for me, when they just started playing better. They started that second half against the Cowboys, killed them in the first half. Dak and company, they ate them up. It was embarrassing. And then the second half, they came and I don't want to say shut them down, but pretty much shut them down, held them like 11 points. And obviously they won the game in that kind of fashion. I think that sparked the defense for the remainder of the year. Now, granted, of course, they gave up all those points to the Chargers, but we came back and won. So you still got to care. You still got to care. We know they got to be better on third down. We know they got to affect the QB. But look, if they can if we're going to take Trevor's last 10 games plus the playoffs as momentum, I'm taking the last month plus the playoffs as momentum too for our defense. You got to add. We're going to add to it. But Brian Branch would be number one for me. Lucas Van Ness is interesting. I know what the counter is. Well, they would be part of the rotation. You can't have too many pass rushers. I agree with that. But in a 3-4, there's only, so much room. And look, we had this discussion last week. Well, what about Josh Allen? Okay, that I understand, right? Because maybe he's not. Maybe they feel like he's not in their plans. Maybe they don't need. They're going to still have him for this year, but they already know that after this year. I don't know. I don't know, and they're not going to tell us anyway, right? I wouldn't.
And I don't know that they know right now.
No.
They might have a certain opinion, but if Josh Allen has a fantastic year,
right,
that opinion's going to change.
Look, they like Josh Allen.
Of course, yeah.
He's the kind of guy they want on their team. There's no doubt about it. As far as production, when he's on big. There's no doubt. I mean, he's proven that. He's just not on all the time.
It's 2-0 to 100.
Yeah.
It's 280.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's too much of this is a 3-sack game or this is I don't get my name called once game.
Or you don't even hear him.
There's not enough sack and a half games or 1-sack games or whatever. There's not enough of that.
So I could see that. I could see that pick. I still think Quentin Johnson's a dark horse. We'll see. I know everyone's like, we don't need a wideout. I'm like, well, just depends who's there. I wouldn't pick Branch over him. I don't think I might pick him over Torrance. Torrance is my number 2, Osiris.
I think you and I are on the same page there.
I just think he adds some beef and nasty to this offensive line.
I think we would both, I don't want to speak for you, but we'd both be very happy with Branch or Torrance at 24, right?
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think you and I are both on the same page, and those kind of be in our top 2. Yeah.
And the corners, it depends who's there, but I read up on Forbes. I like him. He had a great career. He's a stud. I didn't watch a lot of them, so I'm only going by what the reports and that kind of thing. Joey Porter Jr. I saw a little bit. He's a ball player. Will they be there? I think Forbes got a better chance of being there than Porter.
Yeah, Witherspoon and Porter will not be there.
I'm not even bringing up him. He's a stud. I mean,
I'd be shocked if either of them made it out of the top 15.
I agree.
They're both so
Witherspoon
good,
for 10 even. I think
Witherspoon's really good.
8, 9, or 10. He's got all the goods as well. Does Darnell Wright slip? I don't think he will, but if he does, I'd still go Branch number 1 because he just helps my defenses in the day one. You know what I mean? And I think Osiris would be a day one starter too.
Branch?
He wouldn't be. Lucas Van Ness wouldn't necessarily be a day one starter. He'd be in the rotation. I mean, I don't know who he's beating out. Unless you're done with Trayvon at 3-4 outside backer, which they're not. So that's why the edge throws me off a little bit. Like, you just look, and it's not just on the field, it's just perception as well. I mean, last year, you took an outside linebacker number 1 overall. And now you're going to tell me the next year you got to find another?
Perception-wise, it would not be a good look.
It's just like, man, well, did you miss on him? Like, why? I feel the same way. And by the way, we don't know. They could be feeling that as well, the Jags, Trent and Doug. We think he's going to be really good. No, it didn't show up, but if you watch the tape, you see him against the run, you see him getting better, you see him making more, you know what I mean? They could feel that, right? And I'm not there yet because I watch every game. I don't watch the film like they do, right? But I watch every game, and he disappears a lot. Now, granted, he was a rookie, so you give him, but he's not a natural pass rusher. He's got to work on that game. He can develop into it, there's no doubt. Let's see what he does this year. But I feel like, man, that's my guy, and I'm not moving him down. All right, because why? Because I got Roy Robertson Harris and I got Foley. Those are my guys in my 3-4 DNs. To start, the base, when we go nickel or whatever, it changes. But right now, I've got Devon Hamilton as my nose. I got Foley. I got RRH. I got Josh Allen. And I've got Trayvon Walker. And then I've got Oluokun. And then I've got Lloyd. And Muma's somewhere in there too. All right, Cisco, Jenkins, Darius, and Campbell. Tell me I got PTSD. You're crazy. I just named the starting defense. But in all seriousness, all kidding aside, right? Those are the guys. You're adding to that. We have 21 and 22 starters returning. The only one not returning is who? Jawan Taylor. Arden Keewan a starter. Smoot's not a starter, and I hope Smoot they do add back. I love if Smoot's he's healthy. Game, they want him back. He's everything you want out of a football player.
I love Smoot's game.
He can play. He can play up, he can play down. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Now, again, I do understand the insurance on Josh Allen with Lucas Van Ness or somebody else. I don't know if they're going to be there. Brian Branch is going to be my pick, and I hope they do get him. I think he could be, and just think of this. Think of, they creeped down, and you got Branch on the outside, and you got Cisco or Jenkins, who blitzes well too, just creeping down and bring that heat.
Did you see how many tackles Brian Branch missed in college?
Yeah, not many. They say he's the best. They say he's the best tackling defensive back that they've seen in a long time. Wow.
He missed 4 tackles.
Wow, that's impressive, especially in the SEC.
Crazy. That's like the Osiris stat. He never allowed a sack.
Yeah, and he can move people.
You're talking a 3-year starter, never allowed a sack.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. And then we'll see on the second round. We'll talk about that on Friday when we return, though. And I hope you all have a great first round draft night. It's going to be fun, man. I don't think I'm going to go into the Jags. I think I'm going to watch it at home. I'm going to chill out and just, take a nap until 24. Have my wife wait. No, I'm just kidding. Watch the draft and look forward to seeing who our new Jacksonville Jaguars. To all your teams out there, good luck to them all except the Titans, as Graham has mentioned. You guys don't get that, but everybody else does, no doubt about it. All right, so check us out on Friday, and we'll be back right here. Until next time, stay safe and be cool out there. We'll see you right here on Catching Up with Tommy Mack. Peace.